All right, blessings, and shalom to you and your family too. So good to see you tonight and to join us for our Bible study Tuesday night Torah teaching live. We're so grateful for this opportunity. I pray that all is well with you and your family. Hopefully everybody's doing well tonight. And if not, count it all joy. Count it all joy. We're going to get started in just a bit. I want you to do something for me, though, first. You know what to do. Take out your notes. Guys, we're back at our... Here, let me show you what we're working on tonight. You can go ahead and pull out these notes, guys. If you don't have this chart, email me. Or not email me, but send me a message in the chat. And I will shoot it out to you. It's a blank chart. I will shoot it out to you. Once you receive it, what you need to do is make a copy of it. And I'll show you how to do that. It's really simple. It's really easy. But text me in the chat and let me know if you do not have a copy of this chart. I will send it right to you. I'll put the link in the chat. As a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to put this in the chat. And what you're going to need to do, though, you're going to need to make a copy. All right. And let me share with you. So what I did was I gave you all of So this is what you do to make a copy. All right. Hopefully you guys can see that. Make it a little bit larger. All right. So you go up to the left corner where the little blue icon is. Okay. And then you come over to the right where it says File. Click on it. Scroll down to make a copy. And you're going to see this screen right here. And then you just go into this box and type your name. Bang. There you go. Okay. And then you just go down to this blue make a copy. And then you click it and you'll have your own copy so that you can type in your own chart. Okay, I'm going to show you one more time, just in case I went too fast. Come all the way over here to the left where this blue little icon is. Come to the right where it says File. Click on File. Scroll down to make a copy. Click on that. All right, you're going to get this box. Click inside the box. And then just type your name right there. Scroll down, click on this blue button here, make a copy, and then you'll have your own copy. Okay. All right. So we're going to need this chart, guys. You're going to need your Bible. You're going to need something to write with. We're going in. We're going in tonight. So good to see you all once again, to the Israelites all around the world. Blessings, brother. Blessings, brother Jesus. Blessings to you, brother. It's a lot going on. It is a lot going on, guys, and we need to be ready. We need to be prepared. And unfortunately, many of us are not prepared because it's not that we don't want to be prepared. It's not that we don't have the ability to be prepared. But what I believe it is I think, in my opinion, I think we're not equipped to study like we should. Now, there's one thing to study, but then there's another thing to understand what you're studying. And I'm going to tell you this, guys, if you're not walking in holiness, straight up, if you're not living a righteous life, Yah's not going to reveal his word to you. He can't trust you with it. No. Now, many of us may say, well, what about these dynamic preachers? And, they can preach and it's just amazing. Well, let me say this. There's a difference in being charismatic and preaching what thus saith the Lord. All right. So we got to make sure that we're not performing hero worship, which we're going to get to a little bit later. Okay. So we're going to go right into the word. So turn with me to book of Matthew chapter 24. And we're going to, guys, I do apologize. My setup is not where I want it to be, but it'll work. It will work. Right? So we're in Matthew chapter 24, and we're going to drop down to verse 24. All right? Matthew 24. And I love Matthew 24 when we're dealing with this topic that we're dealing with tonight. Matthew 24, and we're going to go all the way down to verse 24. Guys, do me a favor and thumb up the video and share the live, guys. Share the live. And then if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe, ring the bell so that you'll get notifications every single time we go live. All right. Thumb up the video, share the live, and then subscribe. Also, I want you to text a copy. Make a copy. And I want you to share this with family members, friends. Share it with someone you know needs to hear about the end times, about what the scriptures teach about the end times. All right. So go ahead and share that. You should be sharing that automatically, guys. You should be doing that just on GP. Just make sure that you hit that like button. If you're hitting the like button, let me check and see. We should have the same amount of likes as we have people in the room. Let's see. I'm gonna check, guys. I'll check on you. Oops. That's not good. Hold on real quick. Okay. So let me go here. All right, guys, we got one thumb up on the video. I appreciate it, but go ahead and share the live and thumb up the video, guys. All right. If you can do that for me, I would appreciate it. Doesn't take a lot. I mean, it's not like I'm asking you for money or anything like that. But yeah. All right, Matthew chapter 24, verse 24. The word of Yah reads, For there shall arise false messiahs. Okay, that word in the Hebrew, Christ, Christos in the Greek, but in the Hebrew it is Messiah, Mashiach. All right, for there will arise false messiahs and false prophets talking about the Messiah, this false Messiah, and shall show great signs and wonders. Okay, so this false Messiah, guys, is going to trick people and fool people and deceive people because the people are looking for signs and wonders. Okay, they don't want to be rooted and grounded in the word, in truth, but people are going to be looking for all kinds of fantastic and extraordinary happenings. Okay. And so this is how they will be deceived. Inasmuch that if it were possible, and this is the scary part, they shall deceive the very elect. Now, let me say this. There will be some people that go to church every Sunday. Yeah. Some of your loved ones, some of the people you need to be sharing this video with, who go to church on Sunday because they're dishonoring Shabbat. They're in direct violation. They're in direct disobedience. They're in direct rebellion against not only Yah's word, but Yah himself. Yes, it is a commandment. Now, this is how you quail those of you who say, "Oh, it doesn't matter what day you worship on." Let me just teach you something real quick about those kind of people. Those kind of people refuse to get into the word, and what they are doing is they are ignorantly and blindly disobeying the commandment. Now watch this. Those same people will say this: "Oh, I agree that you shouldn't lie, you shouldn't steal, you shouldn't bear false witness, you shouldn't commit adultery, you shouldn't desire your neighbor's things." Those same people will say that, but they will ignore the fourth commandment. All right. And so you got to realize that they are deceived. And so it's an unfortunate truth, but it's the truth no matter what. And so if you decide to disobey Yah, you are in direct, and it's not just disobedience. It is a lifestyle of disobedience. It's not just that, oh, I fell, I sinned, and now I'm asking Yah to forgive me. No. What we're talking about here is a continuous lifestyle. There are people sitting and listening right now that hear my words, but it's something in them that will continue to not search the scriptures, but they will continue. This coming Sunday, they're going to be right there at Sunday morning service. People listening right now. So you got to make up your mind on whose side you're going to be on. Are you going to be on the side of truth, or are you going to continue to be on the side of your pastor? Okay. You got to make a choice. It's going to either be the Savior and the truth that he speaks, or you're going to continue to feel loyal to a man who's deceived. Now, the times that we live in, or a woman who's deceived. And so I'm not going to even get into the whole idea of you attending a congregation where there is a female shepherd. I'm not going to even touch that tonight. But many will be deceived because there will be false messiahs. Guys, I want to get right into it. Got a lot planned for you tonight. And I want to show you the chart one more time, because we went through the Egyptian captivity, and we showed what we're showing in this series is how each kingdom is prepping you and has been prepping the world to receive the false Messiah. Okay, and it goes all the way back to the book of Genesis, actually. And so, but we're dealing with the captivities because we want to look at from the time that Israel was a nation, that Israel was a people, the enemy has been trying to shovel down our ancestors and now us, shovel down our throats this idea of half-truths so that we can be prepped to receive a false Messiah. All right. And what we did was we showed how each of these kingdoms, the Egyptian kingdom, the Assyrian, the Babylonian, and then last time we dealt with this was last week, we dealt with the Medo-Persian Empire. And tonight we're going to be dealing with the Greek Empire. Okay. So after the Medo-Persians, we have the Greeks that came in with Alexander the Great. And we're going to look at what did they bring to the table as far as trying to prepare the world to receive a false Messiah, and more specifically, the Israelites, believers. Okay, we're going to take a deep dive tonight, and we're going to look at that. So let's get into this tonight, because again, Matthew 24 said there will be false messiahs. All right. Are we still connected? All right, I had a little glitch. How can Jesus say there will be false messiahs, but we're going all the way back to Greece? And if you look at the dates, 331 to 146 BC, that was long before Yeshua was even born. All right. So what you got to understand is this: when Yeshua said there will be false messiahs and false prophets, that's not a new message. All right. This is something that has been happening century after century after century. Okay. When Yeshua comes on the scene, he's now saying we're in a time where there will be a rampant, there will be so many false teachers and false prophets and false messiahs that we got to be on the lookout. But we're going to go all the way back to Greece. All right. Now, in Greece, in ancient Greece, their ancient Messiah figure was Zeus. Okay. He was a demigod. And Zeus was the Messiah for the Greeks. And what they did with Zeus was they turned this false god into an idol and they worshiped him. And what the interesting thing is this: when they went to conquer different lands, as the Greeks did, when they went to conquer these different lands, they imputed or infused, or the word is actually they syncretized. And what that means is they brought together whatever religious god of that country, they brought it together with Zeus and they worshiped those gods together. Okay. And so we need to really pay attention to what's happening, because what's being said is this, and many people today think like this. What's being said is this: it doesn't really matter what, God you worship. I mean, as long as you're a good person, as long as we can get along, as long as we can just have unity, it doesn't really matter what God you worship. And see, this is the problem, guys, with our ancestors and with us today. What we're saying today is this: we need to lay our religious beliefs. In other words, we need to lay our belief in the truth of Yah aside, and we need to come together based on our skin color. Okay? That's what our people are saying today. And guys, let me tell you this. Skin color means absolutely nothing. It means nothing. Okay? So we need to get in our minds away from, and many of us, I'm gonna take flack for this, but you know what? It's the truth. Many of us need to get away from the idea of Black unity. Come on and go with me. I don't want to be unified with you simply because of the color of your skin. I want to be unified with you because we believe the truth together. Okay? So we need to scrap this idea of Black unity, because it's not working. It's not working at all. As a matter of fact, we haven't been unified from day one. It's a dream. You know why we're not going to be unified based on Black unity? Because we got Black people who believe in witchcraft. Come on and go with me here. Oh, I'm going in on us tonight. We got Black people who believe in killing babies. No, see, I can't be unified with a murderer. No. We got Black people who believe that it's okay to have more than one wife. Adulterers. No, we can't be unified around that. We got black people who believe that it's okay to get high, go to the club, and then come to worship Yah in the sanctuary. We can't be unified around that. We got black people who stand in the pulpit. Oh, come on, I'm going in tonight. We got black people who stand in the pulpit who knowingly lie to you and then expect you to pay them and cash them out because they told you a lie. We can't be unified around that. And so we got to scrap this idea of black unity and then start to get on the path of biblical truth and then unify around that. Oh, yes. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with that. Put a 2 in the chat if you disagree. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. Put a 2 in the chat if you disagree. Let's participate tonight. I want to know what you're thinking. And the Bible, here's why you should put a 1 in the chat. The Bible never talks about unity around skin color. Never once. And if we say we're Bible believers, then we have to be on God's side instead of culture's side. I'm going to put a 1 in the chat for myself. There you go. Put a 1 in the chat for myself. I agree with that. All right. So fair use. Everything that we share tonight is based on our First Amendment right, freedom of speech and freedom of religion. And beyond that, it is for the purpose of teaching. It is for the purpose of learning. It's for the purpose of comment, research. And so we're not in any wise and infringing on any copyrighted material that we're going to be using tonight. All right. Thank you, sisters. Thank you. I am blessed. Amen. And let me say one last thing about black unity. Oh my goodness. It's a myth. Listen, guys. No nation comes together based on the color of their skin. No, not even white people. Not Chinese, not Korean, none of them. You know what they come together on? Values. Come on and go with me here. They come together on cultural values. Well, for us, our ancestors have left a history of cultural values that starts with the scriptures. Come on and go with me here. And so if we're going to come together, it has to be around the scriptures. No other nation comes together based on skin color. No way. So let's get into it tonight, guys. I'm ready to go in. We have our chart here. And so let's deal with this idea of this Messiah figure called Zeus. All right. Now, I'm going to get to this part right here. What happened with the Greek Empire? What they brought to the table was this. They brought the idea of idolization of celebrities. Now, you may say, well, that idea of celebrities didn't even exist in Greece. No, it didn't. But that's where we are today. I'm going to show you how we got to the place of idolizing celebrities. Okay. Now, this is how we got there. In the Greek culture, they deified human authority. Okay. Because humans during the Greek period were able to do amazing wonders and things because, remember, it was the Greeks that took over the entire world. All right. And I want to show you how they actually did this. And this, guys, this is where the deception comes in. I'm going to show you how people are deceived because they believe in a human that has been deified based on the works that they do, based on their actions, based on these great things. And if I can give you a modern example, many of us, we know more. Come on and go with me here. We know more about celebrities and the lives we think they live than we do about the scriptures. That's one point of how many of us idolize celebrities. And what we're doing is we're deifying a human, because how can we know more about a human who's done nothing for us, but the one who's done everything for us, we know little about? We've just deified a human. We've just made an idol from a human. And I got receipts, guys. I just want to make my claims first. Now, here's the problem. In our culture, this idea of deifying humans has been normalized because it goes all the way back to Greece. It's been set in motion all the way back from Greece, and now it's normalized. It's normalized. We even have a show called American Idol. There's no problem with saying that. And there's no way you can explain it away. There's no way you can, say, oh, it's just a title. No. What we've done is that we've normalized this idea of worshiping idols to the point where we can name shows after these idols. All right. And so not only is it normalized, but guys, it is paving the way for many people who say they believe. It's paving the way for them to believe and trust in the Antichrist. All right. This false Messiah, the false Messiah. Go with me to the book of Acts. Acts chapter 17. I want to show you something. Acts chapter 17. And we're going to look at verse 22. Acts 17. And we're going to look at verse 22. Now, during this time, in this context, we're past the Greek Empire. Now we're into the Roman Empire. So we're going to deal with this Roman Empire next week. But I want to show you this verse because what the Greeks passed on, the Romans picked it up. And now we are in the book of Acts, where the Roman Empire is ruling the world. Acts chapter 17, verse 22. Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, "You men of Athens, I perceive that in all things you to be superstitious. For as I pass by and behold your devotion or your worship, I found an altar with the inscription, 'To the unknown God.'" Now, see, here's the problem with that, guys. You have people in a culture who have been shaped, they have been set up, they have been normalized and fashioned their minds to make it okay to worship something that they know nothing about. All right. And so let me, I'm building my case. So give me a chance here. Paul says, as I pass by, I'm watching this devotion, this worship of people in the broad daylight saying we are worshiping an unknown God. All right. So Paul says this: I perceive that you are very superstitious. I want to look at this word superstitious really quick, because this word is going to give us a little insight. Watch this. I want to show you this word is a It's a compound word. You can see this. It's made up of delos, daemon. Watch this, guys. This word is superstitious. It's not in a good sense. Reverencing God or the gods. Pious or religious. So you got to have a biblical understanding of what's being said here. See, we have our own 21st century understanding of superstitious. But in the first century, the understanding of superstitious was having reverence for another God besides the Most High, besides the Creator. Now, you may say, well, I'm not superstitious. Many people are superstitious in a biblical sense. And let me show you how. Again, let's talk about knowledge, what we know about. It seems like if we love someone, we ought to know more about them. But again, we know less about the God of the Bible than we do about many things. Listen, look, you know more about your job than you do God and the Bible. You know more about your family than you do God in the Bible. You know more about your friends and God, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Not to mention your favorite TV shows, not to mention your favorite movies. You could tell someone about a movie that you've seen. Every single scene of the movie, you can repeat it back to them. And watch this. There are movies that you saw 10, 15, 20 years ago that you still remember, and you can tell someone about it. But watch this. Someone comes up to you and says, God doesn't exist. And we don't know what to say. Come on and go with me here. Come on and go with me here. But we know what to tell we know about our family. We know about our job. We know about all these different things that have nothing to do with our faith. But yet the one that woke us up, the one that blessed us, the one that gave us grace and forgiveness, we know absolutely nothing about. Now, some people may say, well, Pastor, I think you're going way too far. No, I'm not. Because watch this. By now, you should be a teacher. Oh, I'm going in after you tonight. Because if I don't go in hard tonight, guys, you're going to think that you're okay. You're going to think that it's okay with me not knowing. Knowing stuff about the Bible and God is just for pastors. You're going to think that you're okay. You're going to think that you're safe. But watch this. The same people who have been in this faith could be superstitious. Come on and go with me here. Because what's happened is we have more reference for those things that have nothing to do with the Most High than we do Yah himself. And those people, watch this, when you know more about every other subject, you're being prepped to receive the false Messiah. You're being prepped. Now, I want to deal with this. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. Isaiah 17. I want to deal with this. You guys know it's been in the news, guys. It's going crazy in Western Asia. It is better known as the Middle East. Okay, I'll say, listen, guys, I hate saying Middle East. You know why they say Middle East? Because they're using Europe as the reference point. Listen, Europe is not my reference point. Okay, so just think, I want you to remember this. Whenever you say Middle East, you're using Europe as your reference point. They've gotten you, watch this, they've gotten you so Europeanized that you make reference to the rest of the world based on Europe being your reference point. Come on and go with me here. It's actually, this area is Western Asia. All right. So let's go to the book of Isaiah. And I want to deal with something that's currently happening in the news. You guys have seen, if you've been watching the news, then you will know that Damascus, did I say Isaiah 17? Yeah, Isaiah 17. You know that Damascus has been, sorry about that, has been taken down. So we're going to look at where is that in the Bible? Because watch this, guys. As soon as I saw this on the news, my mind went straight to the scriptures. Now watch this. The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. Now watch this. Keep your eyes open about this. The cities of Aurora are forsaken. They shall be for flocks, which shall lie down, and none shall make them afraid. The fortress also shall cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria. They shall be as the glory of the children of Israel, saith the Lord of hosts. All right, guys, so we're going to look at verses 1 and 2, and we're going to see how has Damascus fallen. Listen, guys, this is something that I'm going to show you this. This is another chart. It's okay. Don't trip. I'm just using this for reference. You don't have to write anything on this. So we're in the Greek conquest. All right. We're still dealing with Greece. Now watch this. Greece conquered Damascus all the way back in 332. But watch this. The prophecy in Isaiah was before 332 BC. Come on, go with me here. So watch this. We have Damascus going through a continuous conquering, but not ruined. I'm going to show you through all of these references that Damascus was conquered, but not quite ruined, like Isaiah said. Okay, watch this, guys. So remember the gods that they worshiped. Greek gods, where we said it was Zeus, right? But guess who the Damascus god was? Remember we talked about the deification? And if we go back and look at all of the different nations that has conquered this area, this Western Asian area, let me show you this. If we go back and look at all the nations that have conquered all of these areas, the areas in the pink, the areas in the purple, the yellow, the greens, the orange. You look at all of the nations that have conquered these nations. Watch this. The one thing they have in common is that they brought their gods with them. So if you look in the pink area, I know it's kind of small, but if you look in the pink area, at the very top, almost at the very top of this pink, it says Damascus. It's right up here. Okay, it's right across from northern Israel. Okay, and if you go down a little bit, it says Aram, Syria. Syria is the modern day name of this area, but during the kingdoms of Israel and Judah, it was called Aram. Are y'all with me? Today it's called Syria. So we're looking at this area today, and if we look up here and see Damascus, Damascus today has been taken down. All right. And so watch this. What do you mean taken down and ruined? Well, there's no more government. There's no more government in Damascus. Look at the headlines. Assad, who was the president of Damascus, he left. He said deuces, and he flees to Moscow. Victorious rebel leader al-Golani enters Damascus and takes it over. Watch this, guys. Listen, look at this. Look at this little writing under here. This victory, my brothers, is historic for the region, says the HTS leader at mosque in Syrian capital. So the capital of Syria is Damascus. It's been taken down. Watch this now. Notice what he says. The leader at the mosque. So now we have, let me show you something. I don't want to go too fast. I'm going to come back to that point, but I want to show you this article real quick. I'm going to show you this article. Fair use. Okay, so remember they said HTS? I'm going to show you what that means. If you look over here, it won't let me highlight it. It's right here. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. Okay? That's the H, the T, and the S. Okay? Watch this, though. It's very important. This victory, my brothers, is historic for the region. Why is it historic for the region? Because, look at this. Look at this. HTS leader at the mosque. What religion is that? Islam. So what they're doing, guys, is they're removing all the gods that were in this area, and now they're establishing an Islamic God worship. Guys, watch this. Now let's go back. I'm going to get into this article a little bit, but I want to go back to show you why did they have to establish this Islamic rule? Why were they rebelling against Assad? And why did this leader, who's a Sunni Muslim? Now, guys, I want to deal with this. If you know anything about Islam, you know that it is broken up between mainly Sunni Muslims and Shia Muslims. All right? I'll put that in the chat. Let me put that in the chat real quick so that if you want to study this. I just don't have time to go into a whole study right now on the difference between Shia and Sunni. I think it's twins. I can't remember. But look that up. Look up the differences between Shia and Sunni. One believes that all of the prophets of Islam should descend from Muhammad, and the others believe that the imams or the leaders should come from the righteous caliphs. Okay, and so there's a distinction between these two groups. However, the one thing they believe in common is that a Messiah is going to come, and watch this, with Jesus. That's helping their Messiah called the Mahdi. Well, come on and go with me here. I'm going to write his name down here too. This is who they believe is their Messiah. Okay. It's called the Mahdi. They believe that once this entire Western region is under Islamic law, under Sharia law, that this is going to usher in the return of the Mahdi, the Messiah. So now watch this, guys. This is a modern day belief that they have. Now, let me go back a little bit. I'm going to go back to show you why did these leaders say that this is a region changing. Watch this. They said it's historic for the region. Very powerful words by this Sunni leader who believes that the Mahdi, their Messiah, is going to come and destroy the gods that they're worshiping in this entire region. Watch this. So we have, if I can go back to my chart. Okay. So look at this column where it says gods worshipped. The Greeks, they brought into this area, when they conquered it, they brought in this idea of Zeus, Apollo, and Athena. Okay. But the scriptures tells us that this area was used to worshiping deified humans. Watch this. Deified humans. So watch this. Watch this, guys. I want to show you this. So in this entire area, in the pink, we're used to worshiping deified humans. Now watch this. The history of Ben-Hadad, number 1, king of Damascus. This king was one of the first deified humans that was worshipped. Well, why? Well, let's go to 1 Kings chapter 20. 1 Kings chapter 20, and we're going to find out. First Kings chapter 20. Now let's find out. We're starting verse 1. And Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, remember this area, the king of Syria, gathered all his hosts together, and there were 32 kings with him, and horses and chariots, and he went up and besieged Samaria and warred against it. Watch this, verse 2. And he sent messengers to Ahab, king of Israel, into the city and said unto him, Thus saith Ben-Hadad, Thy silver and thy gold is mine. Here's the king of Syria telling an Israelite king, Your silver and gold is mine. Your wives also and your children, even the goodliest, are mine. Watch this, guys. Verse 4. And the king of Israel, Ahab, answered and said, My lord, O king, why is another king calling this deified human his king? I thought God was the king of Israel. I thought the Most High was the king of Israel. Watch this. According to thy saying, I am thine, and all that I have is yours. Guys, let me say this. The words of Ahab, when we refuse to make Yah our king, when we refuse to study his word, what we have said is that we have made something or someone else higher than Yah. Come on and go with me here. And watch this. Eventually, if you continue down this path, everything that you have will be given over and will be taken from you because you've turned your back on Yah. Watch this. I mean, I don't even have to say this, but just look from where some of us have came. Many of us, we lived our lives in opposition and rebellion of Yah. And what did he do? He put us down. He brought us down low into the muck and the mire clay. Come on and go with me here. And it wasn't until we turned back and ran back to Yeshua HaMashiach that he lifted us up. But here this king of Israel is telling Ben-Hadad, whom the Syrians idolize and worship, that you're my king. Verse 5. And the messenger came again and said, thus speaketh Ben-Hadad, saying, although I have sent unto thee, saying, thou shalt deliver me thy silver and thy gold, and thy wives and thy children. Yet I will send my servants unto thee tomorrow about this time, and they shall search thine house and thy houses of thy servants, and it shall be that whatsoever is pleasant in thine eyes, they shall put it in their hand and take it away. Guys, I don't have to tell you that the moment you turn your back on Yah, what you are doing is you are taking everything that you hold precious, that you hold dear, and you're putting it in the hands of the enemy. Come on and go with me here. Now, some people say, well, I haven't turned my back on Yah. I still, listen carefully. You turn your back on Yah when you refuse to keep his commandments. Come on and go with me. See, y'all don't believe it. Watch this. I got to show you John. So I'm going to go right to the words of Yeshua. John 14. John 14, verse 15. These are the words of Yeshua. If you say you love me, what do you say? Keep my commandments. Now watch this. Some people think and believe that Yeshua's commandments are different from the commandments that the Most High gave. But let's go here. So I want to show you that's just simply not true. John 12 and 49. So when Yeshua says, for I have not spoken of myself, but my Father. So watch this. When Yeshua said, keep my commandments, what he's speaking and what he's commanding is not coming from himself. It's coming from the Most High, which sent him. And watch this. And gave him a commandment. What I should say and what I should speak. So we've just destroyed that argument. So you can no longer say that the message that Yeshua has is different from the Father. The commandments that Yeshua is talking about are the same commandments that were given in the Torah. Come on and go with me here. Look what he says here. This is Yeshua. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. Whatsoever I speak, therefore, even as the Father said unto me, I speak to you. So we got to get this idea, this erroneous Christianity that has tricked people into believing that the commandments have been done away with. No. So what's my point? When you turn your back on Yah's commandments, just like Ahab, you are placing everything that you hold dear into the hands of the enemy. And guys, guess what? This is exactly what people are going to do, because they're being prepped to receive the message of a false Messiah, because they won't even take the message of the Messiah when he says what? If you love me, keep my Father's commandments, is what he's saying. Come on and go with me. So watch this. Let's go back to why is my screen doing this? Here we go. Let's go back here. So we have King Ben-Hadad commanding men to turn their back on Yah, to give up everything that Yah has given to them. All right. What else let's look at Ben-Hadad 2. Now notice this, guys, what it says here. The Arameans besieged Samaria. Elisha miraculously intervenes, leading to divine deliverance. But watch this. 2 Kings chapter 6. Now, guys, I have to show you this because these individuals believed that their leaders were gods. 2 Kings 6 and 8. Again, guys, when I give you these scriptures, you should definitely go back and read the context, the entire chapter. The king of Syria warred against Israel. Notice, guys, this. Notice that this area we're talking about is always going against the people of Yah, the Israelites. The king of Syria warred against Israel and took counsel with his servants, saying, in such and such a place shall be my camp. And the man of God sent unto the king of Israel, saying, that thou pass not such a place, for thither the Syrians are come down. For there the Syrians are come down. Watch this. And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of God told him and warned him of, and saved himself there, not once nor twice. Therefore, the heart of the king of Syria was sore troubled. Hold on, you guys need to see this. Therefore, the heart of the king was sore troubled for this thing, and he called his servants and said unto them, will ye not show me which of us is for the king of Israel? Will you, watch this, will you not show me which one of us is for the king of Israel? And one of his servants said, none, my lord, O king, but Elisha, the prophet that is in Israel, telleth the king of Israel the words that you speaketh in thy bedchamber. Guys, let me say this. When there's a real man of Yah, he's going to speak the truth no matter what the enemy does. That's the mark of a real man of Yah. That in the face of the enemy trying to extend his reach in your life, he was trying to extend his reach Watch this. Ben-Hadad too was trying to extend his reach into the place of where the Israelites were. And watch this. Whenever the enemy tries to extend his reach in your life, you got to stand up and do what? Speak the truth like Elisha. Speak the truth. Watch this. And he said, go and spy where he is, where the man of God is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan. Therefore sent he thither horses. He sent there horses and chariots and a great host. And when he says horses and chariots and a great host, he's talking about military. All right. And they came by night and they compassed the city. They surrounded the city where Elisha was. And when the servant of the man of God was risen early and gone forth, behold, and hosts compassed the city, both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, alas, my master, how shall we do? What shall we do now? And he answered, fear not. I love this. For they that be with us are more than they that be with them. Guys, let me say this. Oh, let me keep reading because this is dope. Watch this. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes, his servant's eyes, that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots and fire round about Elisha. Come on and go with me here. I want to say this. When your enemy is surrounding you in your life, when your enemies, I don't care who they are, I don't care what it is, I don't care what they've done, what they have planned, but when Yah sends his spiritual army to fight on your behalf, watch what happens. And when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord and said, smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha. So watch this, guys. The enemies that have taken over. God, I want to show you this. The enemies that have taken over this land. They've taken over this land. They're blind, guys. They're blinded. They're blinded, number one, because they worship a God who's not even a God, just like Ben-Hadad. All right? They don't worship the Most High. So watch this. No matter what kind of power they exude, the Most High has a fleet of spiritual angels that are doing warfare even now on our behalf. Now, what does this have to do with us? What does this have to do with us? Oh, it has a lot. It has a lot to do with us because what they are trying to do, guys, is they are trying to usher in their Mahdi. All right. And if they take over this area, guess who's going to get involved? See, you guys are not ready for this one. Guess who's going to get involved? Hold on. Give me a second here. I'm going to show you who is going to get involved. Oh, they've already taken over, and they already said this is a historic change. Can I show you something, guys? This is going to mess you up. This is LA Times. You guys see this? You see what's going on? You see what we're doing? You want to talk about how is this going to affect you? Look at our government's response to this. You don't think that this country is going to be judged because of this kind of stuff? This hypocritical, oh my goodness, guys, listen. How dare you put your hand to your heart at the next sporting event and pledge allegiance to a flag whose government is doing this? In Syria, militia armed by the American Pentagon fight those who are armed. You can't make this up. Who are armed by the CIA, by the American CIA. Oh my God. Guys, you cannot make this up. Syrian militia are armed by different parts of the U.S. war machine. Guys, look at the mess that we're involved in. I shouldn't say we, but look at the mess that this government is involved in. The government that you are so committed to, that you are proud to vote for this government. You listen, you Democrats out there, you are proud of this government, so much so that you know more about policy than you do about the word of Yah. And you want to know how is that going to affect us? Listen, you can't do this stuff as a government and not reap judgment. See, this is the hypocrisy of it all. Is that on one hand, on one hand, they say that this is one nation under Yah, under God. But then on the other hand, out of the same side of their mouth, this is what they're doing. This is what the government is doing. So what they're doing, the government in this country, they are helping Islamic individuals fight against each other so they can kill off their children, kill off their babies. And then it goes back to the prophecy in Isaiah 17. In Isaiah 17. Do I got to read it? Did you write that scripture down? Isaiah 17 says that Damascus is going to be a ruin. Why is it going to be in ruin? Because they have a history of worshiping other gods besides the God of Israel. Now watch this. I'm going to show you the origin of this worship. I got to skip through all of this. I got to skip this. Look at this. Idol worship. Idol worshiping Aramaeans. Let's go to Joshua 24, 2 and 3. I need to show you the origins because we need to understand Joshua 24, verse 2 and 3. Watch this. Let's start in verse 1. And Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel to Shechem and called for the elders of Israel and for their heads, for their judges, and for their officers, and they presented themselves before Yah. And Joshua said unto all the people, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time, even Terah, the father of Abraham, and the father of Nachor. And watch this. And they did what? And they served other gods. Guys, let me say this. These Islamic individuals who have taken over Damascus, they believe that Abraham and Abraham's father and his heritage, they believe that Abraham was a Muslim, which is ridiculous because Abraham lived long before Islam was even created. Islam didn't start until the 600s. We're going all the way back to creation, before the flood, and after the flood. But watch this. We see that they served other gods. Abraham's family was involved in idol worship. Watch what verse 3 says. And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood and led him through all the land of Canaan and multiplied his seed and gave him Isaac. Now, I want to show you something. Go to Deuteronomy, because I want to show you what Isaac called his father Abraham. Deuteronomy. Wait, was that Isaac? Wait, did it say Isaac? Hold on. Yeah, Isaac. Now watch this. We're going to see what Jacob called his father Abraham. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. So Jacob refers back to Abraham. This is a very interesting point, though, how Jacob calls him his father, but it's really his grandfather. That's another point that we'll deal with. Deuteronomy chapter 20, I believe it's 25. I hope it's 25. Hold on. Give me a second. Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second here. There we go. It is Deuteronomy 26. I was off. I was going to say 25:6, but it's 26:5. Okay. So I want you to see what they called Abraham. Let's start in verse 4. And the priest shall take the basket out of thine hand and set it down before the altar of the Lord thy God. And thou shalt speak and say before the Lord thy God, a Syrian, we're talking about this region again, a Syrian ready to perish was my father. And he went down into Egypt and sojourned there with a few and became there a nation, a great and mighty populace. And the Egyptians evil entreated us and afflicted us and laid hard bondage on us. Hold on. That's interesting. Deuteronomy 26 and 25 should say, hold on. Oh, I know what they did. Look at this, guys. See what they did. This word Syrian, watch this. I see. This word Syrian, Arami. You see that in the Hebrew? Arami. Why would they change it to Syrian? Interesting. Look at this. Syrian or Aramaean. A thing or a person from Syria or Aram. Watch this, guys. I want to show you something. You see that from Aram? Watch this. Let's go to Genesis 10. I need to show you this because just because you're a Shemite, watch this. Look at verse 2. The sons Japheth, hold on. Verse 1. Noah's 3 sons, right? Shem, Ham, and Japheth. You got that? But then let's go down and look at who are the sons of Shem. You guys know who the sons of Shem are, yes? Here we go, verse 21. Unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth, the elder, even to him were children born. Watch this. The children of Shem, Elam, Ashur, Apharxad, which the line came through Apharxad. If you look at a Apharxad line, that's who Eber came through and the Israelites. But watch this. Lud and Aram. Aram went and settled the area that we know today as Syria. You see in the pink right here, Aram. This is the area he settled. So watch this. You have Abraham's family from this area of Aram watch this. And as a result, this is why Abraham's family worshiped idols. Remember we read Joshua chapter 24, verse 2 and 3 about Abraham's father. Remember that verse about how they worshiped idols? That's Joshua 24 and 2 and 3. Let me go back because I want to show you. Now, why am I bringing all this into? So watch this. Even Terah, the father of Abraham, and the father of Nachor, they served other gods. All right. So Listen, guys, this area we're talking about is an area that eventually God is going to judge. But I want you to notice something about what's happening there. Yah, the Most High, is allowing these idol worshiping people to destroy themselves. He's allowing these idol worshiping people to destroy themselves. Guys, watch this. Now, this is what we cannot do. Let's go to 2 Kings 16. This is what we cannot do. 2 Kings 16. And we're going to start in verse 10. And we're going to close. We're closing with this. I got to come back to this lesson, guys, because I skipped all through. But I want you guys to see this. And King Ahaz, who was the king of Judah. Watch this. And King Ahaz went to Damascus to meet Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and saw an altar that was at Damascus, and King Ahaz sent to Urijah, the priest. Watch this. Not to call on the Most High, but he sent for Urijah, the priest, the fashion of the altar and the pattern of it, according to, watch this, all the workmanship thereof. All the workmanship of what? The altar at Damascus, where they were worshiping idol gods. Watch what verse 11 says. And Urijah, the priest, built an altar according to all that King Ahaz had sent from Damascus. So Urijah, the priest, made it against King Ahaz, came from Damascus. And when the king was come from Damascus, the king saw the altar, and the king approached the altar and offered thereon. This is the king of Judah, y'all. And he burnt his burnt offering and his meat offering, and poured his drink offering, and sprinkled the blood, his peace offering, upon the altar. Look at that. It sounds good, right? And he brought also the brazen altar, which was before the Lord, from the forefront of the house, from between the altar and the house of the Lord, and put it on the north side of the altar unto the gods of Syria. And King Ahaz commanded Urijah the priest, saying, upon the great altar, burn the morning burnt offerings, and the evening meat. Guys, let me just say this about this verse. You can read it later for yourself. What King Ahaz of Judah was doing was he was taking Israelite principles, Torah principles, and laying them on top, come on and go with me here, of false religion. He syncretized, he brought together false religions with the Torah. That's exactly what people do with Christmas. It's exactly what people do with Thanksgiving. It's exactly what people do with Easter. They bring, now where did they get this from? Where did Ahaz get this idea from? Watch this. Let's go to Ezekiel. I told you I was going to close, but I'm going to close with Ezekiel. Ezekiel 23. I have to show you this because I raised the question, where did he get it from? Ezekiel 23. That's Ezra. I want Ezekiel. There we are. Ezekiel 23. And we're going to look at verse 14. And this is it. You can read this entire chapter. Ezekiel 23. Verse 14. You know what? Let's go to 13. Then I saw that she was defiled, that they took both one. They took both one way, and that she increased her whoredoms. For when she saw men portrayed upon the wall, the images of the Chaldeans, remember, these Chaldeans, the images, when they saw the images of the Chaldeans portrayed with vermilion, girded with girdles upon their loins, exceeding in dyed attire upon their heads, all of them princes to look to after the manner of the Babylonians of Chaldea, the land of their nativity. And as soon as she saw them with her eyes, she doted upon them and sent messengers unto them into Chaldea. And the Babylonians came to her, watch this, into the bed of love. And they defiled her with their whoredom, and she was polluted with them, and her mind was alienated from them. Goodness, that's so deep. So she discovered her whoredoms and discovered her nakedness. Then her mind was alienated from her, like as my mind was alienated from her sister. Yet she multiplied her whoredoms and calling to remembrance the days of her youth, wherein she had played the harlot in the land of Egypt. Who are they talking about now? That brings an interesting point. It's not talking about an individual, but it's metaphorically talking about Israel. Watch this. And they go all the way back to Egypt. Watch this. For she doted upon their paramours, whose flesh is as the flesh of asses, and whose issue is like the issue of horses. Thus thou callest to remembrance the lewdness of thy youth, in bruising thy teats by the Egyptians. Look at, they're going all the way back. For the paps of thy youth. My goodness. Guys, what we're talking about here is the way it originated. The origin of King Ahaz worshiping idol gods goes all the way back to our ancestors in Egypt. Guys, let me say this. They were prepped to worship these idol gods and their messiahs. Guys, let me say this. We've got to be careful. You think that just because you're an Israelite that doesn't know the word, because watch this, you have to know the word so much to the point where you can teach others. These Israelites, they knew the Torah. They knew their history. But they allowed King Ahaz to lead them in worshiping and sacrificing at the altar. They brought Torah biblical principles and put it on top of religious idols of other nations. They took what they knew was true and they mingled and mixed it with what God had not endorsed. Come on and go with me here. Isn't that what happens with Christmas? They say Jesus is the reason for the season. Listen, none of their disciples, Paul, no one else celebrated the birth of Yeshua. They had their own feast days that were biblical. My question for Christians, Sunday going Christians, if you believe in sola scriptura, the Bible alone for all things that are related to faith and practice? Well, where are you getting Christmas from? Where can you find in the pages from Genesis to Revelation that anyone celebrated the birth of Yeshua, while at the same time ignore Leviticus 23? I hear Christians saying, well, what's Leviticus 23? To my point, that we know more about unbiblical things than we do about our own scriptures. Guys, don't be prepped into receiving this false Messiah. He's coming. Know the difference by knowing the scripture. Blessings and shalom. Blessings and shalom. Shalom to you and your family too. Guys, we got more. We got so much more to come. It's coming. Blessings and shalom.